troubleshoot some issues. We've been able to talk, first of all, we've been able to talk some clients into understanding crates a little bit better and getting them on board. Second, during crate training, any issues that have been coming, we've been able to kind of troubleshoot, the biggest of which have been whining and anxiety or having accidents in the crate. And then we had one more on the list, which was just fear of entering the crate. That's easily done with some treat work. Making sure you feed the dog in the crate, making sure you give your dog bones in the crate, making sure your dog has a positive reason to enter the crate. That's pretty self-explanatory. Dog trainers definitely know those tactics. But let's jump into the after crate training has started, right? Like after we've gone through all the troubleshooting and actually we're finally getting kind of the ball rolling and we're in there. What are some points that you want to talk about, Mariano?
Well, the big thing that I want to talk about is the big thing we wanted to talk about with the aggressive dog episode, which was making sure that the owners keep up with the training.
Yeah.
Because dogs can make amazing progress, and then the owners, they felt bad in the beginning, they're going to feel bad in the end. The only difference is it's our job to give them the insight and the understanding as to why it's good for the dog. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's important as trainers that we really make sure to express like just how much progress, just how much calmer, how much better, how much safer, how much, your dog's going to be if you keep up with your crate and or confinement training, if it's like a laundry room or whatever the case. Mm-hmm. And, why it's important for the dog's development over time that you keep this consistent.
Right. And I think, the hardest hurdle is getting them to buy into it and getting them to survive the troubleshooting phase. That is the hardest hurdle. Once we get there, naturally, it's going to be pretty obvious for owners. My dog likes the crate. My dog relaxes in the crate. My dog actually goes into his crate on command once we've developed that, right? Now, once the owner starts seeing that the dogs enjoy it, now we're going to start seeing that they start seeing all of the benefits for their own lives. I know my dog's safe. I know my dog's not going to get into something. I know my dog's not going to poop in his crate. I know my dog, I'm going to buy myself more time throughout the day where I can do my own thing. My dog's not going to annoy me at this certain hour of the day with the Zoomy. There's all these different scenarios where the results will speak for themselves. But once we get past the getting them to buy into it, and once we get past the troubleshooting phase of the crating.
That, and once we get into seeing the real full benefit of the crate.
Yes.
So because everybody gets it like on a basic, okay, so my dog's put away, like I know he's not going to like blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But I think a big problem that trainers face is clients, I've seen this before. I've met a lot of dog trainers. I've been to a lot of kennels and, trainers will explain something to a client and kind of go off on a tangent that's not beside the point. It's on point. It's just, it may not be their dog. Mm-hmm. And the owners kind of start to space out. Mm-hmm. They put a polite smile and they're like, but they're like, my dog doesn't chew anyway. So like, whatever,
Yeah.
So when they see the real benefit as it applies to them, and I think of things like, if it's a puppy, you stop the tantrums, which not only means your puppy's not whining and driving you insane, but they're not chewing, they're not peeing, and they're also not chewing on things they should be chewing on, not peeing in the house, but they're also not going to develop like long-term an unhealthy, correct. But now I think of the other side. I think of high-risk dogs, aggressive dogs, whatever else. The crate is also just a great management tool in general. You will have people coming to the house and you're afraid that he's going to bite somebody, crate him. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Put your collar on him, crate him, and put him in a downstate like we talked about. Yeah. If they walk in the house and he gets up, down and jump on it.
Right.
It's something that can give you your freedom back.
Right.
If you're nervous about your dog, even if they're the sweetest dog in the world, but you've got your toddler crawling around and the dog is 120 pounds and step on him, mm-hmm. you have your freedoms back. You start making it work for you in a way that I think like people get it in their head, but they don't really feel the full benefit of it until they've had time to soak it in.
Right. And I think that was a good point. When you have children, if you have a dog with aggression, how do we socialize them when groups of people come over? Like the crate, after it's developed, has so many benefits in just the overall training process, especially when we're dealing with behavior mod, for sure. It's really, really important. And I think anytime that we lay out a training plan for a client, it's really important for them to know how crucial the crate is for the longevity and the long-term success of that training system.
Absolutely. In fact, I think I found a way to phrase it, and it's in a question, but
go ahead.
But let's make no mistake about this, okay? Mm-hmm. So you and I have talked about this before. Mm-hmm. The elements of dog training, right? The behavioral, the routine, the obedience, the socialization, and the, and it was the relationship. Sorry, I might be forgetting. But relationship development. Okay, I was right. So, are there any one of those 5 segments of dog training that aren't directly influenced by solid crate training?
Not at all. Not at all. I would say this, like I always tell people to that point about relationship development. I always tell people, I said, the reason dog trainers can get dogs to develop a balanced relationship from the get-go with your dog is because anytime your dog is with the trainer, they are asking productive things and teaching productive lessons with the dog, right? So usually at a dog training facility, or if you guys do board and trains, that dog's not necessarily having the same freedoms as your own personal dog, right? That dog is only with you when you're teaching them, when you're structuring them. So it's easy for that dog to learn the ins and outs of that trainer and how to please them because they're not just casually, hanging out in the other room doing something that they shouldn't be doing, right? And so we don't necessarily, as trainers, we don't have to really tell dogs no that often, right? We don't have to say, cut that out, don't do that, stop that, in the sense of like they're not doing anything that really pisses us off. Now, obviously, when we're changing behaviors, we modify, we cut that out, or we mark no or off, whatever. But in essence, the reason dog trainers, remember, we always talk about this in every episode, the biggest complaint we get as dog trainers is that the dog is always better when you're around, right? And the reason that is because we are able to control the dog's access to us and therefore create a better relationship with the dog. What our dogs associate us with structure and respect and love and playfulness, because that's all we've shown them to be. And so when I have clients who have unhealthy relationships with their dogs, this is definitely part of post-training, fixing that relationship with them.
100%.
Yeah, I love it, man. All right, guys. Well, we want to thank everybody for checking out episode 25. We really hope that this episode was helpful for you guys. Guys, we want to ask you just one quick favor. Right now, while you guys are listening to this, please share this. Just share this. If you feel that this podcast has added value to you or you've learned something new, please share this with one other person. I don't care who it is. It could be your mom, your dad. It could be another trainer friend that you have. It could be a client that maybe you had trouble explaining this to, that you feel that they might take some really good value from this episode of the podcast. Just go ahead and share it, guys, because it really just help us help other people as much as we can, because we really want to help as many dogs as we can get better. Guys, again, this is episode 25, dealing with clients and crate training. We do have a very, very special guest next week. You guys may have heard of him. He has the coolest dog training YouTube channel in the world, and he is also known as America's Canine Educator. If you guys haven't guessed who it is already, it is our boy Tommy Davis with Upstate Canine Academy in New York. Check out our episode next week. It's going to be a killer conversation with our friend Tommy Davis. And again, guys, if you guys want to go ahead and follow us, at Dog Trainers Podcast on all of our major platforms. All right, guys, we really look forward to catching you guys in episode 26 with Tommy Davis. We'll see you guys then. Peace.